open mind. I came here not knowing who was sponsoring this, and I learned a lot from many people. There were some people I just blatantly agreed with because it was, funny one-liners, and it's easy to laugh and to make a point using emotional rhetoric. It's a lot harder to be specific and give facts. I would just like to say to the person identified with the person who said that the different nations are going bankrupt, but do you know that 50% of the population is going to be going bankrupt because of high health care costs? And that includes that includes us. I can say, for all the people who spouted off a lot of things that I didn't think were true, I didn't yell out.
What about misinformation?
You just said no misinformation.
I am.
Let her talk.
Thank you. 75%, healthcare has gone up 75% since the year 2000. You feel it, I feel it. We need to do something to help control costs. That certainly is something that the health reform bill needs to do. And part of the reason why healthcare costs are so expensive is because, for example, the people that you're talking about who are underinsured or uninsured, who go to the hospital, who pays for it? We do. If we can make it so that people can afford health care, then our costs would go down. And right now, North Carolina is paying about $8.3 billion in costs because of people who are underinsured. Well, right.
Could you clarify something?
Yeah, I would try. I'm far from an expert.
You mentioned that you cannot have Medicare if you don't have other insurance.
Yes.
That's not true.
Um,
You may elect to get a supplement if you want to, but that is not true.
then, sir, please don't walk out. I'd like to respond.
We'd like to hear you.
Well, what I was going to say is I wish when I was reading about Medicare, I wish he had been there to advise me, because that was, I was told that I had to buy a supplementary policy. Thank you. That's good to know. With that, though, I would just say that just as you took me to task, I would ask you to take yourselves to task when you talk about things like euthanasia, which isn't what's required by any means. That you take yourself to task when you hear someone say, don't get vaccinated. Well, no, he didn't say don't get vaccinated. He just put the fear of the Lord in those who are thinking about getting vaccinated or have gotten vaccinated. And I would ask that not just Kay Hagan, but all my representatives bother to listen to me and respond, because after all, they're supposed to represent me and you, and not just people who are of their particular party or moral persuasion. Thank you.
Laura Treese, born and raised in Wilmington, been living here all my life, 52 years. Here's a fact. If you're happy with the education system in this country, you're going to love this health care. And if you think that it's about control, you're dead on. Because Obama got elected because we've got an education system that's dumbed down our children. We don't have many teachers like Mr. Nairmore. And gosh, by golly, over this many years and how many, 3 generations since I was in school, and their age, I think that's 3 generations, they've just turned things upside down. What's right, what's right, now it's wrong, and now it's right again. It's okay to kill your baby, flush him down the sink. It's okay to kill your grandma if she's too sick and costing too much. I mean, God knows people, where's it gonna end? And the NEA, the National Educators Association, is hard at it, still promoting an anti-life agenda. You need to get used to the word agenda, because Obama is all about his agenda. The agenda that's been hewn and crafted over the last 40 years, since Saul Alinsky birthed it in this country. Get ready, y'all. Education system, get your kids out of this system. It ain't gonna work. You can't be missionaries. Bring your missionaries home. Bring your kids, get your kids, you love your kids, get them out of this system. And do it now. And tell your friends. Get your 20 people of your friends to vote, and vote these people out.
I'm from Carolina Beach, and I drove myself and my wife here. So I am probably a liberal's and this administration's worst nightmare. I am a self-educated Southern conservative Catholic. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. It is 36 pages long in small print, not 1,000 pages long. Senator, I appreciate the respect you've shown us here today. And thank you for allowing me to speak. I'd like to just cover a few things briefly. I made notes while I was sitting there. These are things that have been on my mind, and as obviously they're on yours, and they are repetitive to some extent. You have no authority under this Constitution to be meddling in this area. None whatsoever.
Thank you.
Secondly, the bill that was referred to was introduced by Senator Fleming. It's H.R. 615. This is the bill that would mandate that Congress sign themselves and their families onto this program. They, for some reason or another, I think we're all aware why, will not do that. It's not good enough for them. It's only good enough for us, the serfs and the peons of this country. Again, what government-run program should we look at as an example of a well-funded, efficient department to contrast this proposal with? Social Security, underfunded, over budget, and nearly bankrupt. Medicare, over budget, full of fraud. Medicare, Medicaid, the same thing. The post office, Amtrak, the federal influence on our public school systems, mandates that came down that are unfunded, but the locals have to take care of through their budgets. The VA hospital, veterans, have you been to one lately? Thank you. The health care that's provided for the Indian reservations by our federal government. They rammed TARP down our throat. They scared us to death with the stimulus. It had to be done now or else. The energy bill. And where is tort reform in this thing? Nowhere to be mentioned. I've talked just as recently as yesterday to my personal physician, and any that you speak to will tell you that the major cost and the major fear that they have are lawsuits. Major cause of your expenses predominantly are coming from malpractice suit insurance. You know, what frustrates me is like cash for clunkers. They can't make a car deal without massive problems, and they want us to hand over the health care, 1/6 of the economy, along with our personal liberties, to let them run. Where were you for the last half of the 20th century? Does the Soviet bloc not mean anything to you? Grab your nearest recently liberated Czech, Romanian, Hungarian, or Pole, or Russian for that matter, and ask them what they think about the system that we're about to embrace. We are Americans, and we have an expectation for you to act like one. The last thing I'd like to cover is something that an old man told me one time. He said there are two reasons why a person goes into politics. They're too lazy to work, and they're too scared to steal. It appears to me that they have gotten over their fear of theft. Thank you.